Hey guys, it's Tanya, and I am your Tuesday vlogger for the Back to Basics WLS channel. And this week's topic is actually a viewer request. I got a request of somebody who's a weight loss surgery patient, has a friend who is considering, well, had considered lap band surgery and is now considering vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which is what I had. And obviously, and their spouse has questions about what to expect after surgery, short term and long term, but they wanted it from my spouse's perspective. So I have my husband here, John, and I'm going to ask him a few questions. And I have some questions that the viewer sent, and I have some questions of my own. And we may break this up into a couple of videos, make a little series out of it. So we'll start with first question, which is not the viewer question, but it was a question that I came up with. What did you think when I told you that I wanted to have VSG?
It was a hello. It was a little bit scary, I guess. Surgery is invasive.
Yeah.
But you had done some research into it, and kind of you had your mindset.
Yeah.
That you wanted to do it. So I wanted to learn about, what was involved, and so then I could understand the pros and cons. My main concern was to find out what, negative things could happen. How it was going to affect what foods you'd be able to eat, and then how, of course, it was going to fit into our lifestyle.
Right. Well, I know too. I remember you questioning me saying that I had said I would never have weight loss surgery.
Right,
and
right.
then, so I mean, it wasn't like, oh, you want to do it? Yeah, let's go and do it. He definitely kind of, I won't say that you pushed me to not have it, but you questioned my judgment if this is really what I wanted to do.
Right, you want to play the devil's advocate and ask all the questions. So
in a nice way.
You convince you're confident that you have the right decision.
Yeah. Prior to me having surgery, did you ever worry about my weight and what it was doing to my health?
I mean,
I was on blood pressure medicine.
Right, you want to try and get off as much medication as you can.
There's no wrong answer.
No, in a way, sometimes, partly, with the arthritis you have, that would, some of the things, I might have liked to do, I like to play tennis, and you couldn't really play tennis, whether that was because of the weight or the arthritis, because we still haven't played tennis.
Well, I can't play tennis with my arthritis, but even if I could have, I would not have because of the weight.
So some of the things.
But now I would. If my arthritis didn't hurt so bad in my hand, like hitting a ball,
right.
I would be willing to try it now.
Right, but if you just to focus on your health, it was in the back of my mind. You start and then you push it to the side because you really want to think about it. But what would, if something happened to you? How is that going to affect me? And with two little kids. But you want to, you hope that the healthier you are, it's not a guarantee, but the fewer problems you hopefully would have.
Right, the lower the risk.
In health wise.
Yeah.
So it was in the back of my mind, but
try not to think about it.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Our next question. This is from the viewer. It says, "What should I expect for the first day or two when my wife comes home from the hospital? Basically, will she be able to lift anything? Is she going to need constant care? Do I need to take off of work to be with her for the first few days after?" And what I'll say is that it varies probably person to person, but I could tell you my first 4 days after surgery were not pleasant. And it wasn't pain, because one of the other questions was how much pain is normal. And I think that kind of varies too. And I won't say that I had pain. My stomach was sore, but my problem was nausea. I was extremely nauseous. And so I had my surgery on a Thursday, and you took off for surgery day.
Right. And I stayed in the hospital all night, and
Did you go to work on
I went to
Friday?
work on Friday, but I went directly from the hospital
That's right.
to work, and
Yeah.
then you came home Friday,
Night. It was like 7 o'clock, I think,
right?
Friday night.
So
And
your parents had
yeah, my
stayed
parents
there that
had
day.
right, and they had got the kids for us and everything, and I think they kept the kids Friday night. And when I got home from the hospital, I just went straight to bed. The anesthesia was still coming out of me, and they had pumped me through full of anti-nausea medicine, and I was extremely tired. And I remember I slept good that night. I don't recall waking up. I remember getting a good night's sleep that night. Um, but that Saturday and Sunday were pretty miserable. I remember Saturday night crying on the sofa and thinking I had made the biggest mistake of my life because I felt so terrible. Um, so I definitely say she's going to need somebody the first couple of days, not necessarily for to be taken care of, but for support. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like encouragement.
Right. That was hard just to see you in that condition. You know, where you feel horrible. You know,
Yeah. I couldn't hardly
you
drink
couldn't
anything.
drink. You know, you couldn't keep anything down. You know,
Right.
without feeling like you had to.
I dry heaved a lot,
down.
like a lot those first 4 days, or maybe 3 days. The fourth day probably started to really check itself. But and my doctor said that was just sometimes the stomach doesn't like to be messed with, and it that's how it reacted, and so that's kind of normal.
So, and for me, the challenge was to try and comfort you, and at the same time, remind you that the reasons that you did this, that
Right.
you know, from watching other people's videos, you had seen that people have the same kind of problems early on,
Yeah,
and it's something that you're gonna have to work through it.
yeah,
You know,
it's gonna get better.
hard
Yeah,
while you're in that moment, but that was the tricky thing, and there's not really like anything that I could do, you know, rather than just be there.
just
Have
right,
you
just
know,
be supportive and listen, and
if you needed a towel or something, like I tried to
Right, yeah.
have paper towels to
when I start
to help
gagging,
to help you know
yeah,
clean your mouth, or a wet towel to that when you were finished you could at least
clean up
feel
and
clean. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he took good care of me, and my mom and dad were here a lot of the
Yeah.
time too, and they were the same way. They just kind of have somebody sit next to you and encourage you and kind of remind you, not say you wanted this. You don't want to say that, but you want to say, after you get past this phase, everything is going to get better, and you're going to appreciate all of this. And it's almost like childbirth, where you kind of forget how bad you feel. Like I remember that I felt bad, but I don't remember how I felt. I just remember I was very nauseous. So, and I remember dry heaving a lot, but okay. Uh, Next question. So I understand my wife's eating habits are going to change drastically. How do couples handle this if the spouse is not ready to make the same types of changes? And he wanted to know, is my wife going to eat 3 meals a day with me, or are we going to just be completely separate with groceries and meals and snacks for the rest, from now on? And I can tell you that I think from the beginning, even when I was in a liquid phase, didn't eat because I was in a liquid phase, but I did 3 meals a day. I did it like 3 meals a day. Like if I was drinking broth, but it took me a long time to eat in the beginning. But after the first week, I did it the week before Thanksgiving, the Thursday before Thanksgiving. So I think after I went back to work the Monday after Thanksgiving, I was coming home and cooking for the family just like normally would. And I wouldn't eat it, but nothing really changed with me cooking for everybody. And you could talk a little bit about.
I would have liked. I'm horrible at cooking, and I can't cook. I can burn water, probably. But I would have liked to have been able to learn to cook better, but and that maybe would help alleviate any of the issues you may have in being tempted to eat certain foods. That was a concern of mine, especially knowing that I can't cook.
Like if I cooked and then I would be
you would be
tempted to eat
tempted
what
to
I ate.
eat some of that stuff,
Okay.
and I was. and for that reason, I wasn't kind of worried too much about how it was gonna inhibit what I was gonna eat. I was happy to eat anything that you cooked.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's
So,
always like that anyway. So, but you were worried that I was going to eat something that I shouldn't because
right,
I was
and
tempted by
so
it.
I wanted to be supportive and eat, a little bit better. I've always, you know, it's not.
Okay, sorry guys, we got cut off. We had technical difficulties. So I guess just to sum up what we were saying was that John was already kind of a healthier eater. He ate Greek yogurt before I even had surgery when I wasn't eating it. And he always ate a lot of fruit every day at work, and I didn't necessarily do that. So he was already on the healthier side. So I think you've probably adopted some of the things that I do. I mean, he'll still eat like potatoes and French fries and carb things that I would not eat, and I still cook it for everybody. And I might eat a bite of something, like oven fry, like one or two oven fries, if I bake it for the whole family, or But I mean, for the most part, I think you've cut down on the amount of carbohydrates you eat,
Right.
and you just kind of incorporated it. But I would say we don't have like separate meals though. Of course, in the beginning when you're going through the liquid and the mushy stage, things are, yeah, you're eating totally different than everybody else. But once you get past that, our meals are very similar. Like, so if I'm grilling pork chops for the family and I'm fixing a macaroni or something to go with it, I'll eat the pork chops and I'll serve them the pork chops and the macaroni and like carrots or whatever. Or if I'm grilling meat and we're gonna have that with oven fries, I'll just eat the meat. They eat the meat and the oven fries. If I'm fixing meatballs and spaghetti, I'll have the meatballs with sauce and some cheese. They'll have the same thing on spaghetti. I just don't eat the spaghetti. So we eat our meals together and we eat very similarly. I just have little things in my diet that I've tweaked. When you say that's the case?
Kind of. And
I have treats now that I'm in maintenance. I still don't eat pasta, or I might eat a piece of potato if I do like roasted potatoes, but yeah.
right, and for further down the road, when we still try and go out to eat sometimes, not regularly.
We're not
but
huge. We don't go out to eat a lot, but
whenever we can. And what I've learned, I don't try and eat the same exact things that you do, but I've learned from it. I'll try and make a choice if there's some kind of a steak or chicken or something like that. I'll
try and make a healthy choice.
Have that. And something else that I had thought about, what I do is I used to always eat everything on my plate, whatever was dished out, and
both of us.
I still do that, but what I do now is I'll put less on my plate.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm just gonna eat whatever's on my plate.
Right.
And
so you kind of control your portions like that.
That way, not by just I don't leave anything on my plate, but I'll just dish myself less food. That's my.
So you've made some little modifications too, yeah. So
it's helped me in that regard. Yes.
Yeah, and do you feel deprived because of it, or
no? I mean, you always go and get more food,
but does the amount of food that I eat now, does that make you feel guilty of it, that you eat more than I do?
No. It's not a competition about, I still have to fuel my body. I'll have times when I've had a really rough day at work.
Yeah.
And if I always bring extra food to work because we don't have any stores nearby.
And you don't know if you have to stay late.
Right. And so if I have a pack of M&Ms and I have to drive home and I feel weak, I'll eat the M&Ms.
And not feel bad about it.
No, because...
No, I mean, I think
I'm gonna burn off the energy, and the same as everybody in the community does. I'll look at my physique, and from exercising at the gym, and if I'm making small improvements, then that's great for me. I'm happy with that.
Right.
Again, I'm not competing with anyone. Everybody's different. So
you're happy to be.
If I can still, eat some foods that are treats, cakes and whatever, and my exercise balances it off, and the good food choices help, to balance it out. Then that's good. That works for me. I'm not trying to lose,
Yeah.
crazy amounts of weight.
Right. He said that way he's been real supportive for me, because that's probably the way I should have been thinking all along. But when I cooked prior to surgery, it was like, which piece is the biggest piece of meat? That's the piece I want. And I'm the girl, so I did not have a healthy mindset about food, and I was a bit, greedy with food. So he probably has a healthier outlook on food than I did. Well, I'm sure you do.
Well, it's a more realistic.
Yeah.
As from where you were before.
Yeah.
I guess as you said about a lot of different things, my food was probably where people want to be, where you can make some healthy choices, make some
Right. You
so
balanced it out,
choices.
yeah. Where I was constantly not healthy, for the most part. Because you ate lots of fruit and yogurt and stuff at lunch and stuff, where I usually eat fast food for lunch because I had access to it and it was quick and easy.
Right.
Yeah. He definitely ate healthier than I did. I mean, obviously, you didn't have the weight problem I had, so you had to have eaten healthier. Plus, you have a physical job, so you got more physical activity than I did. So, and still do. But, all right, I'm going to stop it here, and we're going to come back with some more questions, okay?